everyone. I hope everyone's having a good morning. So today I thought it would be fun to do a pop-up vase with a pop-up floral card, and I got the idea from Jan B, another fellow crafter, but she only did the vase. I added the pop-up floral card with it, and this is what it looks like. It can stand up like so too. And we can write our little message here. And this just says, get well soon. Now on my card, I decided to go, I wanted to be a little bit bigger. So this is my prototype one that I made. And I didn't do the flowers or anything, but this is the size we're going to be making today. So let's go ahead and get started on our pieces we're going to need. This first piece here, which is going to end up looking like so. It measures of 2 5/8 by 5.5, and we're going along the 5.5 inch side. We're going to score at 1 inch and at 4.5 inches, and then if we turn it long ways, we're going to score this first line at 7/8 of an inch all the way down to the bottom. The second line here, we're going to score at 1 3/4 of an inch all the way down to the bottom. Okay, and in design space, after you do your score lines, I'm going to give you cut lines also. So this line here, you're going to make 1 inch. You're going to place it on 7/8 of an inch, and the Y will be on 0. This line over here, you're going to make it 1 inch. You're going to place it at 1 3/4 of an inch, and then the Y at 0. And then down here on the bottom, the same thing. It's going to be placed at 7/8 of an inch, but you're going to bring it down and place it, the Y, on 4.5 inches. And then this cut line here, it's 1 inch. You're going to place it at 1 3/4 of an inch, and then the Y will be on 4.5. Turn it back this way is going to be a cut line. It's 7/8 of an inch long. You're going to place it at 1 inch, and then the Y will be at 0. And then you're going to make another 7/8 of an inch score line. I'm sorry, cut line. You're going to place it on the X on 1 inch, and then your Y will be on 1 3/4 of an inch. Now for this side, it's still going to be 7/8 of an inch, but where we're going to place it is it's going to be right here between these two score lines. It's going to be 4.5 for the X, and for the Y, you're going to place it at 7/8 of an inch, which is 0.875. Now I'll show you how to cut it out. So on this end, doesn't matter which end really, just choose one. We're going to cut this square out. And then on this end, your other end, you're going to cut this off, and you're going to have this tab here. So it's just the opposite of what we did at the other end. So we should have something that looks like our piece right here. Now our next little piece that we're going to do is for our floral card pop-up. And we're going to need this little piece here, and this square or rectangle is 1 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And what we're going to do is go up and find 7/8 of an inch and put a dot, and then we're going to come down to this side and we're going to find 1/2 inch and put a dot. And then the same on this side, we'll go over here and find 1/2 inch and put a dot. Then you're going to take your ruler and draw a line from this point to this point, and the same for this, from this point to this point. And then design space, is go down in the point right here, which is 7/8 of an inch. We're going to draw this line here, which is 1/4 of an inch long. So draw that, and then once we have that, we're going to go down and find 3/4 of an inch on this side, and then you can put a dot and then draw your line from this point up to your score line here. And then the same thing on this side, go down and find 3/4 of an inch, draw your dot, get your ruler and draw from here to here. And then in design space, this line is 0.977 inches long. You're going to have your X 0 and your Y you're going to position on 1/4 of an inch. Same in height. You're going to rotate it 300 degrees. You're going to position the X at 7/8 of an inch, and then your Y will be at 1/4 inch. Now for our 3 score lines, they're all 1/4 inch long. Okay, so this first score line here, and then our center score line, it's still 1/4 of an inch. You're going to place it on 7/8 of an inch, and then your Y at 0. And then our third score line, so you'll grab it all and then attach it in design space. Okay, so for us at home, we're gonna go up and find 1/2 inch and then score between these 2 lines. We already have this one, and then for this last one, so all we're gonna do is come over and cut on our red lines. And then we have our little mechanism cut out, and then we can set that aside. Our next piece is this piece here, It's going to be 4.5 inches by 7/8 of an inch. We're going to go up and find a 1/2 inch and then score it all the way to the bottom. And then we have this piece. Now this is another piece that she did use, but I just switched it up a little because I found that when I went to attach it, I had too much movement with my pull tab, so I adjusted it. So what I did is I put some score lines on it to know exactly where to place it so there's less movement. But this piece here is a 1/2 inch by 2 inches, and then I scored them. This piece here is 3 inches by 5.5 inches. You're going to need 2 pieces, and I chose 2 different greens just to give it some different color. It doesn't have to be, but once you get these cut out, go straight away and glue these together, because these are going to end up being our pieces to hold our flowers. So I've already glued my 2 pieces together and they've been sitting and drying. And then we're going to cut these in 1/4 inch. And the reason why we're doing 2 is because it needs to be a little bit thicker to hold our flowers up. So we have those pieces. And then our card base, 9.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And then you're gonna score it in the middle at 4 3/4 of an inch. And then for the insides of my 2 pieces, the bigger piece is and the one I'm putting on top is 4 1/8 by 5 7/8 of an inch. And then I have 3 pieces. It measures 4.5 by 2 to go on top of these. Those measure a 4 1/4 by 1 3/4 of an inch, and they'll go like so. And you'll need 3 pieces of those. You're also going to need 2 circles, and one I did at 3 inches, and the inside one I did at 2 3/4 of an inch. And then you're gonna need, I chose oval, and on this is gonna go inside on our floral card. And I would say don't make this any bigger than let's say 2 1/4. So you could do a square, an oval, a circle, just whatever you choose, but I wouldn't go any bigger than 2 1/4 of an inch. And that's it, guys. We can go ahead and get started. So first things first, we can go ahead and score our card if you want. Okay, once we have it scored, we can take our pretty papers and start gluing those together. So let's do that. Pretty paper we're going to glue onto our card. And then I'm going to take my other 3 that I have, and I'm going to glue them on to the front of my card. And this is what we should have so far. Now what we can do is go ahead and start putting our vase together. So let's get our pieces for the vase, which is our piece here that looks like this. And then our two little tabs that look like this. Now that we got our pieces, why don't we work our score lines on all of excuse me, on all of these. What we're going to do is we're going to connect this tab to here. We want this tab that was scored at this end we want it facing down this way. But we also want to put work from the opposite side. So our side we want facing the front, we're going to face down. So this is the side that I want seen. So we're going to make sure it's facing down. And then this is going to be taped or glued onto here. I'm going to use tape for this part because I find it works better for me, but you can use glue. So let's go ahead and do that. And then once we have the tape on, we're just going to pop this on top of it. And we want to try to get it as straight as possible. So now you should have something that looks like so. And then we can just give this a check that it's lined up between our two tabs, and it is. It works. We still have it going this way. We're working on the wrong side. And then we're going to put tape right here on our little tab. So let's go ahead and do that. And then once we have that done, we're going to come up here and line your card up. So I'm going to line mine up just on this line here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is line this up. Now you can either line it up where it's flush with the bottom line, or you can move it up just a smidge. I like to move mine up just a little off of my card. So I have this much or less. But what we're going to do is get it all straight, and then once we have it lined up where we want it, we're going to fold our card down to stick to our tab. So I'm going to line mine up. And then it should look like so. Have our flap down. Let's check it before we give it a good rub down. But you just want to make sure everything is lined up and that this can fit between your two little flaps. Okay. And mine looks pretty good. I'm good with that. So let's rub it down. Now we can leave it just like this. And what's going to happen now is we're going to right side up, we're going to put tape on these two tabs. Now once we have our tape, I should have told y'all, don't tear it up yet if you use the tearing tape. And make sure your flaps are up here, because we got to put on our, we're going to fold it back this way, and we need to put on our little guide. So because we have this two score lines, I place mine just a bit off of it, maybe approximately, I'm gonna say 1/4 of an inch maybe. So you can see about how far I'm gonna place mine off of there. And you wanna make sure everything is lined up and staying in place. So you can put glue or tape, whichever you'd like, on your tab. And that looks pretty good. Now here comes the tricky part. These flaps go underneath. When you put them underneath, like so, and we have them turned down, you need to make sure you don't put it on your little lever here. It should be going on just each side of it. So how I do it is, you're really not going to be able to see this, but I try to get one side straight and laid down. And if you're going to shut it, then it needs to be laid flat. And then you can press it down. So I've laid this flap down, but don't have this one down. So I'm just going to make sure it's looking nice and straight. And then if I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to come up and put my other side. See if I can show y'all. Take my other flap and get it even with this, and make sure it's not on my little lever here. And then just give it a rub down, and there you have it. And the reason why you're seeing this card is because I didn't really explain it very well with the other card, so I want to make sure I showed you guys so you can at least have an idea. Okay, so now that we have our vase on, I'm going to start on some of my flowers, and then I'm going to show you how to put the floral pop-up card in. I just want to get started so I can get an idea of where I want to place my pop-up part. What we're going to do is get our strips we cut up, and we are just going to start gluing our flowers onto things. And when you place these on, you want to glue it to the back of your vase. I mean, you can glue it on the bottom too, but you want to keep in mind, if you do that, that it's not interfering with your mechanism here. And keep in mind, you also want to make sure you're not going outside of your card. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, since I got some over here, is take my mechanism part here, the V-shape piece we cut out, and let's go ahead and score them. All of them are going to be mountain folds, all the score lines. So let's do that. Okay, so now that we have them all folded, all you're going to do is decide where you would like to put yours. And how we lay this down is this edge here is going to be in our center fold line of our card. Okay, so you can either use tape or glue and put it down, and we're only going to put it right here on this first section. So it's going to be just like so. Figure out where you want to put it. I'm going to use a little tape on mine to see where I want it to go, and then place it down. And remember, it's just on this first section here, but we can, excuse me, lay it flat like so. See how we have it like that? And you can put your tape on this section or glue. Fold it down, excuse me. And then we're just gonna shut our card. And once we have it open, it should look like so. Now, we're going to take our little sign and decide where we would like it. I'm going to put a little tape on mine just to get an idea. And you don't want it touching down here. You want it just a little bit above the paper. So once you get your sign where you like it, I'm just gonna start continuing on with placing my flowers. This is my finished product of the card that we were designing together. And then you open it up, of course. You have the vase and then the floral card in a place you can write a message. It also stands up, however. And I just added the bows and the rest of my flowers. And that's it, guys. I think it turned out pretty cute. And I just want to say, guys, thanks for crafting with me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.